Welcome, dear student friends. I, Professor G.S. Mahalle, welcome you all in this video lecture. Let me introduce myself first. I am Professor G.S. Mahalle. I am having okay. I have completed my BTech in Mechanical Engineering from Government College of Engineering, Amravati, and then I have completed Masters in Thermal Engineering from Amravati University. Dear student parents, I am having the 8 years of teaching experience and I have taught the same subject every year in odd semester, that is for third semester. So without wasting time, let's start our today's topic of discussion. Dear student friends, Fluid Power 1 is subject having 4 credits. Those who have cleared the first year of examination, they must have understand the importance of credits. And for direct second year students, those who have completed their diploma or those who are in final year of their diploma, they might have also know the concept of credits. Those who are from government engineering, government polytechnic Amravati, they must know it. So let's move forward to our discussion. Dear student friends, this subject is very interesting subject. You will learn enjoying this subject. You will enjoy learning this subject rather than I would say. So what prerequisites for this subject? That what knowledge should we have to understand this subject? Or what basic things should we know to understand this subject? Once we have started our coaching, and in that coaching we will get difficulty at some point of time, and we don't understand why we are not getting that point. That is not fault of your my friend. That is the fault of basic knowledge which you would require to understand that topic or that content. But because of our negligence, we might have not understood or not cleared that topic in our earlier studies. And that negligence will pay its cost. So, let me remind you what basic things are required to understand this subject. The very first thing is that physics. All students must have the sufficient knowledge of physics. If you don't have sufficient knowledge of physics, then it will be a very tough task for you. Because we require physics at every point of time. Even we are dealing with fluid mechanics, we must know the physical property of fluid. Without knowing physical properties, we cannot move forward. So we must have a knowledge of physics, and those are having hand in physics, that students should feel themselves they are very lucky, or they should feel very privileged that they are having knowledge of physics. But physics knowledge is very important. It is a very actually a knowledge requiring subject. Okay, means physics knowledge is useful everywhere in your daily life, everywhere. So physics is, we require a physics knowledge to understand this subject. Next knowledge we require is of the mathematics. Mathematics subject we have learned it up to 10th for direct second year students and up to 12th for the first year students. So mathematics, simple mathematics knowledge you require. You require a simple knowledge of mathematics such as differentiation, integration, partial differentiation. But the students from direct second year, they are not having differentiation or integration in their curriculum. So that students should not worry about this topic. I will clear this concepts, that topic in some lectures after starting of our real coaching, or we can say after the starting of our content, syllabus or starting of the syllabus. Okay, then we must know the engineering mechanics. Now, engineering mechanics, there is no option or there is no excuse for you about this topic, because we all have studied engineering mechanics in first year of engineering. We have studied engineering mechanics in diploma for diploma students, and engineering mechanics is the very basic subject for engineering. And not only for mechanical engineering, this subject is useful to each and every engineer. That's why this subject has been included in first year of engineering. So knowledge of engineering mechanics will be very much useful for you, and this subject demands the knowledge of engineering mechanics. Because see, in mechanical engineering we call this subject, or the name of this subject is fluid power, but basically this subject is fluid mechanics. If you purchase a book in market, if you go in market and now there is a lockdown or effect of coronavirus, you should not go in market, you should purchase online books or you should go for the soft copies. Okay, the name of the book is fluid mechanics. So fluid mechanics is the advanced version of engineering mechanics, in which we are dealing with the fluids. In engineering mechanics we are being dealing with, yes, not actually engineering material, we are dealing with only rigid bodies and the things which are stationary. We have not considered the effect of stresses and strains and everything. Okay, that you will understand. We can say it will take some time for you to understand these things. But what concepts of engineering mechanics are required? So let me tell you, you must know the resolution of forces. I think you are able to resolve forces F cos theta, F sin theta, resultant F. Okay. You must know triangle of vector addition or triangle of force addition. You must able to calculate the angle between the resultant. You must know center of gravity. You must know moment of inertia. You must know Newton's laws. You must know D'Alembert's principle. You must know friction. These are some basic criteria of engineering mechanics that you must know before starting of fluid mechanics. But generally the students are having the issue of negligence. The student neglect the points or the topics in first year of engineering and they get punishment in higher classes. But let me clear you, those who are having very good knowledge of engineering mechanics, their students will definitely score high in fluid mechanics. But the students who have done some negligence in their first year of engineering, we will also try to cover the topics related to the fluid mechanics in our fluid mechanics curriculum. And very last and very important thing that you all must have to study this subject, that is what? That is a common sense. You must have a certain level of sense to understand this subject, because this subject is physical phenomenon, the physical phenomenon happening around us, and we should have a keen, or we can say a curiosity, to look at the nature with that perspective. Now see, you might have seen this phenomenon, such as by adding detergent in the water, the clothes are getting washed very easily. So that phenomenon you have studied from the common sense. You might have studied the insects are walking on the surface of the water. These common phenomenon, these common techniques you should have observed somewhere in your life before this lecture. Even you should have think of this, that even a tree of, suppose in our region, 20 feet, 30 feet, 50, up to 50 feet we are having the height of the trees. So up to that much of the height, how the water is going there, how the water is reaching towards the each and every leaf and each and every fruit of the plant. What mechanism behind it? Do we use a pump for it? You see, in multi-story building, we use a pump to pump a water at the first floor or second floor. Do plant use a pump? How the circulation is happening? This type of common sense you must have developed with you, and that will definitely help you to understand the things. Curiosity, you must you must be curious about the things happening around you. You see, if a scientist, great scientist, Sir Albert Newton, sorry, Sir Isaac Newton, if that person was not curious, if you think about it, then the physics or the engineering would have been, yes, in different direction up to now. Sir Albert Einstein, if that person would not have been curious, then what would we have right now? We will be moving in different direction. So curiosity is the mother of all research. So you must be curious about, yes, about your subject, about the physics, about the happening around you. Okay. So this much of prerequisite for this subject. If you are having this much of knowledge with you, then and then only we can go forward. Otherwise, otherwise first we have to learn these things and then we can go forward. So let me take some basics of physics for you to understand it properly. So we will start some basic physical properties, some fundamental physical quantities. Basically, how many of you know how many fundamental physical quantities are there? So in overall physics, there are basically 7 fundamental quantities. But out of 7 fundamental quantities, generally we use 3 fundamental quantities in our daily physical life. So let me tell you about all the 7 fundamental physical quantity, and then we will discuss it one by one, such as time, length and mass. Okay, let me discuss first 3. These 3 are a general fundamental physical quantities which we use in daily life. Yes, we use second, time, we use length, that is meter, we use mass as kilogram. In daily life, we use these 3 properties. That's why these are called as the general physical quantities. Okay, we know these general physical quantities. We don't have to elaborate it. Do we have to elaborate it? What is the time? What is time right now? How many time or how much time do we have to complete this lecture? Time is a fundamental physical quantity which we measure. Length is the fundamental physical quantity which we can measure. Mass is the fundamental physical quantity which we can measure in kilograms. Length in meter, time in second. That's why it is a fundamental physical quantity, that which we can measure. Electrical current, that is also a fundamental physical quantity which we measure in ampere. But this property is not required generally. Generally means for engineering students it is required generally, but in general purpose. Okay. Thermodynamic temperature. Thermodynamic temperature in engineering thermodynamics, in heat transfer, in energy conversion, refrigeration and air conditioning system. For thermal background, this property thermodynamic temperature we have to use regularly, or in every lecture this property will be there. So you must know what is thermodynamic temperature. It is a fundamental physical quantity which we measure it in Kelvin. Okay, whatever the unit I am telling you, this unit is in the SI unit. Actually there is a system of units. Okay, first we will cover this and then we will cover the units of system. Sorry, system, yes, units, systems of unit. Then amount of substance, that is mole. Now we generally don't use this property because mole we don't measure the amount in mole, but in chemistry people, for chemistry people, they use this property. In thermodynamics also we use mole, fraction mole, and yes, kilomole. We use this property in engineering but not in daily life. Okay, next, luminous intensity, that is candela. Its unit is candle. Luminous intensity is the, we can say it is a light, how much intensity of the light is available. Right now I am shooting this video, you can see through the window, it is night, so we are not having the light. In daytime we are having high luminous intensity and its unit is candela. Okay, so these are basic 7 fundamental physical quantities which we use generally. Our next topic of discussion is derived physical quantity, but before this let me discuss with you the, yes, system of units, the system of units, because right now, just now I have taken, or this point have came into our discussion. So let me tell you, we will start with, there was first British standard system, because we had a long we can say we have been long ruled by British. So we had this system in India. Then we moved towards CGS system. Then the MKS system have came into picture, and recently we are using SI system. I think the screen has been, we cannot write beyond this point of limit. Okay, we will come to SI system after this. In British system, in CGS system, we will not discuss these topics in detail because that was not part of our discussion, but just as we have touched this point, it's my nature, I don't keep the things uncovered. British standard system, CGS system and MKS system. You know, in British standard system, the unit, that is pound, unit of mass, feet and second. We use it in British standard. In CGS system, we use what? Centimeter, distance. G is for gram, S is for second. This is what CGS system. In MKS system, what we have made changes? Instead of centimeter, we use meter. Instead of gram, we use kg. And instead of second is second. Okay, these were the old systems of, you can say, units. Okay, but you see, in today's life also, we use the British standard system. Though it has been obsolete now, but then also how, you see, you go to a shop and purchase a wire. He will ask you the very first thing, how many feet? What he will ask you? How many feet? Am I right? You feel a pressure of air in your tire. You set it as 40, 50, 30. What is it? It is a PSI. PSI is what? Pound per square inch. It is a British standard system for the pressure. You see, you must see now that in old we are following, in engineering field we are following SI system, but our daily life, our daily culture is not it is has not accepted these things at all. They were following the old systems. Okay, that is not part of our discussion. Let's come to this our next topic, that is derived physical quantities. So basically we have discussed the fundamental physical quantities, and now we will discuss derived physical quantities. There are n numbers of derived physical quantities. We cannot comment there how many derived physical quantities are there, because it is n number of physical quantities. So first one is the distance. Distance is nothing but movement of the particle from one position to another position, that is distance, and we measure the distance in meter, because I have used here unit, and these units are SI units. That is very important. These units are SI units. The speed is what? Speed is nothing but rate of change of distance or rate of change of displacement. Now it comes the new term, what is rate and what are the things. See, dear student friends, these things are, you know these things. What is rate and what are the things, you know. Let me tell you clearly what is rate. You know run rate. Do you know run rate? How many of you know run rate? You don't know run rate? Now if I tell you that India has made 36 runs in 6 overs, what is run rate? You instantly tell me, sir, 6. What is 6? 6 runs per over. Now that was a simple calculation, but now I would say you, India's score in 50 over is 250 runs. You would say, sir, India has run rate of 5 per over, current run rate or chasing run rate, whatever terminology. But how you have calculated this run rate? You have calculated run rate by dividing. You would be surprised that how you have calculated run rate. By dividing runs to over, you have calculated run rate. See, 36 runs in 6 overs, that is 6 per overs. Do you get it? 250 runs divided by 5. 50 overs, 5 run rate. So these things are like this. So velocity is nothing but rate of change of distance or displacement. In how much time? Now see, I am having a movement. I am moving from one place to another place. But my rate of moving is like this. I am covering 2 meters of distance in 1 second. So what is my run rate? What is my speed rate? What is my distance rate? That is speed. It is 2 meters per second. If I am covering 10 kilometers in 1 hour, it is a 10 kilometer per hour. If I am covering 30 kilometers per hour, it is a 30 kilometer per hour. Are you getting it? That is the speed. Then acceleration is also a rate, but it is not a rate of distance. It is a rate of speed. Now speed may also change. You see, if I am covering certain portion with 2 meters per second, and now I think that I cannot reach up to the destination in certain time, I have to increase my speed. Now I am increasing speed to a 3 meters per second. What I have done? Yes, I have changed the speed. I have accelerated it. So acceleration is nothing but rate of change of speed. The speeds are changing at what rate? That is the acceleration. I think you got this concept. Now what is force? What is force? Force is very important topic. Actually, a force is a complete science, we can say. And I have taken the name of Sir Isaac Newton. That was the person who has, we can say, discovered, not actually discovered, who has defined a force. And that's why we give his name as the unit of the force, that is Newton. What is force actually? As per Newton's second law of motion, we know the definition of force. That is force is equals to mass into acceleration. Do you get it? But let me discuss all the laws of Newton. What is Newton's first law? first law defines inertia. What says? It says that if the body is in motion, it will continue its motion unless and until an external agency stops it. Or body, if the body is in state, it will continue its position unless and until external agency acts on it. That means what? External agency is nothing but a force. Though first law deals with the inertia, but it has given the nature of force. What force can do? Force can stop a moving object, or force can move a stationary object. Second law gives what? Second law gives. Second law defines the force. What is force? Force is nothing but mass into acceleration. The more mass you have, the more force you can generate, or the more acceleration you have, the more force you would have. And what the third law does? Third law states that the force is not alone. Force हा एकटा नसतो. थर्ड लॉचं काय म्हणणं आहे? फोर्स इज नॉट अलोन. तो एकटा कधीच नसतो. फोर्स इज इन कपल. व्हॉट डज इट मीन? इट मीन्स if you apply a force, we will get a reaction. You must understand this thing. If you apply a force on a wall, we get instant and immediate reaction on it. Do you get it? That means force always acts in couple. That means every force has equal and opposite reaction. That means force is in the couple. That means force हा एकटा नसतो. You understand this thing? चला, you understand force? Force is equals to mass into acceleration. That's why its unit is kg and meter per second square. But we don't write this kg meter per second square all the time. Instead of this, we write what? We write Newton. Now, what is work? Work is what? We know work is nothing but force into displacement. Force into displacement is nothing but work. And its unit will be what? Unit of the force is Newton and displacement is meter, that is Newton meter, that is joule. Do you get it? And what is power? Power is also a rate. Rate of what? Rate of doing work. Rate of doing work. That means work per unit time. What is power? Power is nothing but work upon time. That means Newton meter per second. But we don't write like this. We write it as a watt, because it has been defined by watt. That's why we give his name as its unit. Do you get it? Okay, these are the basic fundamental physical quantities which you have learned already, but just I am focusing on its unit. And now in next slide I am going to focus on its dimension, because these are very important topics. What are the fundamental dimensions now we have? Because we are discussing various fundamentals of physical quantities. Now we have to discuss the fundamental dimensions. Let me check 1 minute, because I think we have exceeded the limit. Just a minute. Okay, this software is new for all of us right now. Okay, we are having time. We are having 2 minutes time with us. Let's start again. Okay, we will exceed this lecture for 5 or to 7, because we have limit of 30 minutes. We have covered 28 minutes, but we will take 5 to 10 minutes more, because as it is our introductory lecture, we have discussed various things at the beginning of the lecture. So let's come to the discussion. Fundamental dimensions. There are basically 3 fundamental dimensions: mass, length, and time. So mass, we denote mass by kg, m, and its unit is kg. Now see, mass, now we have discussed the units, that is completely different thing, and dimension is completely different thing. See, we represent mass by m, we represent length by l, and we represent time by t. Okay, you should not confuse with mass and meter, because both are m, but we don't have to use it. See, unit of mass is kg and unit of length is meter, but this the dimension for the mass is m and length is l. You should not confuse with it, and time is t. So if mass is available, then we can say m1 l0 t0. If length is available, we can say m0 l1 and t0, and if time is available, we can say m0 l0 and t1. Now for diploma student, I think this is the new topic for them. They have not studied this topic in previous sessions. So I think we will stop here. Let me just show you the next slide. Only our one slide has remained, that is this. But I will cover this slide in next lecture, because we have already covered very much of time, and at the first day of our lecture you should not get burdened. Okay, you just look at this slide, and I must tell you there is one mistake in this slide, and you have to comment me that mistake. You can pause it and you can look at it. Okay, so we will end this topic now. Okay.